My Belizean sweet pie dough is very simple yet delicious. It only uses 4 ingredients plus cold water. Welcome to the Bear Pantry Show. My name is Barbara. Let me show you how to make the flakiest sweet pie dough that will go with any dessert that you want to make. We're going to need 4 cups of all-purpose flour and it's not sifted. If the butter that you're using is not salted, go ahead and add a teaspoon of salt. The butter that I'm using is salted, so I'm opting not to use this. I'm going to use 1.5 sticks of butter cold from the fridge. Now, I normally use the butter softened to room temperature, but I just wanted to switch up and use it cold today. So it's 3/4 cup of butter, which is 1.5 sticks. If you don't have a 3/4 cup, use 1/2 plus 1/4. And then it's also 3/4 cup of shortening, all right? So let me go ahead and cut one of the butters in half first. I have to cut it in half because I'm only using 1.5 sticks, and I have 2 sticks here. So let me get it open out the wrapper. And then all I want to do is start dicing into small pieces because it's going to make it easier to cut it into the flour. So tuck my fingertips. I got the other piece too. I switched out the knife because the other knife is too long and bendy. This one's more sturdy. So now let me go ahead and measure my shortening. And look guys, I am not stuffing it in and packing it in, all right? I'm just kind of setting it in the cup to measure, to fill in all the holes. Because you don't want to overpack it and then you're going to have too much fat in the dough and it's going to give you a lot of trouble. It's going to be too brittle. So let me measure my sugar. 1 cup of regular white sugar added to the 4 cups of all-purpose flour. Give it a whisk. This is where you would add the salt. We're going to need cold ice water. So let me get my ice cubes and my water. Then I'm back at the counter now and I'm just going to put my fat in, which is the butter first. And I'm just going to cut this into the flour using a fork. Just take your time with it, all right? Just have some patience. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the shortening. Now originally this pie dough was just for shortening. It would have been 1.5 cups of shortening and no butter. But my mom was the one that tweaked it to split the shortening in half and add the rest as butter. And that makes it so much better. Just mixing everything in or cutting it in. I'm going to try to measure my water to see how much water we use, right? I have this recipe in my cookbook too, by the way, guys. So let's start off with like 3 ounces thereabouts. And I want you to learn to feel your way when it comes to these liquids and stuff. I'm going to pour it all in first. Get my hand in here and start working it around. And remember, this is not bread, so we don't want to overwork this, but we do have to get it mixed. Measure another 3 ounces of water. And just go slowly adding the liquid, all right? You're not going to mess up. I promise you, if you go slowly, you're not going to mess up. And once you feel it too dry, that's when you want to add more liquid again. You don't want to try to force it to come together when it's too dry. A little bit more. I don't know that I'm going to need all of this. Hey, it's coming along nicely. Starting to feel really wet right now. Let me dump it on the countertop. Try to pull all this together into a big ball. Let's work it in. Not going to add any more liquid. We're just going to make this come together. All right, it's feeling good. So I'm just rolling, okay? I'm not really kneading. I'm just trying to gather everything. So I got my hands cleaned up because now we're going to do this thing here, this fraisier or fraisier, whatever it's called in French cooking, where we smear the butter or the shortening into the flour or into the dough. So now I'm just going to form it into a ball, flatten it out into a disc. Not too flat, but just kind of flatten it out. Put it in some parchment paper. And then into the fridge. This goes for at least 15 minutes. And that's when you can use it to make any dessert that you desire. See you next video, guys, where I teach you how to make Belizean coconut tart. Bye. Thanks for watching the Bear Pantry Show. Be sure to follow my page and check out my cookbook Beans and Rice Volume 2 at bearpantryshow.com.